10, we have Kanye West. Kanye West is no stranger to negative paparazzi interactions, and it seems that there was a certain point a few years back where he would go off the rails anytime he was encountered by a paparazzi. One time was in 2013 when Kanye walked out of a car into LAX. A paparazzi then confronted him and started complimenting him on his music. I'm not sure if something happened before, but Kanye almost immediately covered up the camera with his hands and told the paparazzi to stop speaking to him. And after what felt like a long conversation, Kanye walked off, but the paparazzi didn't really listen, and as Kanye was walking away into the airport, the paparazzi followed him and continued asking him questions. The video ends with Kanye turning around and lunging at the paparazzi, so something tells me it didn't end well. Another iconic paparazzi moment was when Kanye was walking with Kim out of a parking garage, and since he was looking down to avoid looking at the paparazzi, he ended up walking right into a pole. And it looked like it was a pretty hard hit too. Kanye stopped and held his head for a second while yelling at them to stop taking pictures, and then he walked away quickly into the restaurant. And at number 9, Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin is notorious for hating the paparazzi, and he's gotten in countless physical interactions with them. He was once even sued by a paparazzi for battery after he broke the paparazzi's nose. However, the jury acquitted Alec, saying he was acting in self-defense. Another time he pinned a paparazzi to a car after he got too close to him and his wife Hilaria. Then another time he pushed a paparazzi away by the arm, telling him to get away from his building. There are even entire compilations on YouTube documenting all the times that Alec has gotten in scuffles with the paparazzi, and he definitely has a tendency to lose his temper when they get in his face. And at number 7, Mike Tyson. I have no idea why any paparazzi would want to get in Mike Tyson's face, but some still do. In 2009, Tyson was even arrested after a photographer claimed that he shoved him to the ground. Another one felt the wrath of Mike Tyson when he hounded him at an airport. Mike was at an airport going to his gate, and he was being escorted by 2 traffic control cops. But one paparazzi was walking behind him, presumably to follow him to his gate. When Mike and the cops walked into an off-limits area, and then the paparazzi followed, Tyson lost it. He started walking up to the paparazzi and confronted him. We don't know what exactly went on after, but it looked like the camera was knocked to the ground, and there's a high chance the paparazzi got hit too. In at number 6, Russell Brand. Russell Brand went off on the paparazzi during a date night with Katy Perry when the paparazzi followed the couple into a parking garage and invaded their space. After the paparazzi followed the couple to their car, he was so angry that he got out of the vehicle and started pushing one of the photographers away. I'm not sure if something happened beforehand that we didn't see, but Russell and Katy were in the car about to drive off when Russell all of a sudden got out of the car and confronted the paparazzi, telling them to leave. He started pushing one to leave, but when the paparazzi wouldn't budge, Russell and Katy just drove off. Halfway at number 5, Justin Bieber. The Biebs is another star that has had a number of negative interactions with paparazzi. One of the worst was in London in 2013. The singer was trying to make his way into his car when he allegedly pushed one of the paparazzi out of the way. After Justin got in the car and was waiting to be driven off, the photographer started bad-mouthing him right outside of his car window, telling him to go back to America and calling him a moron. But Justin wasn't happy with the comments and decided to get out of the car and try to fight these paparazzi, telling them that he would beat the hell out of them. Afterwards, he tweeted out, quote, "Sometimes when people are shoving cameras in your face all day and yelling the worst things possible at you, well, I'm human." I guess that was giving an explanation as to why he lost his temper. And at number 4, Scott Disick. Scott Disick is known for being a hothead on Keeping Up, so obviously some of that behavior is going to translate to real life when he's being confronted by paparazzi. I don't think Scott has ever gotten physical with the paparazzi, but he has definitely gotten close. There are even a few compilations on YouTube where you can see Scott getting visibly angry with paparazzi and about to totally lose his temper. The worst was when he was out with Courtney, and when they tried to get into their car, one paparazzi got a little too close to Scott and his car. This caused both of them to go off, with the paparazzi and Scott screaming at each other, with Scott telling him to get off his car along with other profanities. And seeing how physical Scott can get on Keeping Up, he's another person that I personally would definitely not be messing with if I was a paparazzi. And at number 3, Cara Delevingne. Cara Delevingne is another celebrity that has had multiple bad interactions with paparazzi, and she's vocal about her hatred of them. In one instance, when she was walking out of London's Heathrow Airport, she shoved some paparazzi while trying to get through the crowd, and it looked like she purposely walked right into them. She often covers her face when encountered by paparazzi too, as that makes the value of the tapes far lower. Another time, she was so mad about being hounded by paparazzi that she actually kicked one paparazzi's bike in their direction while screaming at them to get out of her face. She also tweeted her distaste for photographers once, writing, quote, "The paparazzi only get worse. I'm not complaining, but I just find it sad that I can't live in my own city for that reason. I refuse to let these grown men treat people like objects with no feelings and get away with it. I will never be silent." In at number 2, Demi Lovato. Last year, after Demi Lovato suffered a terrible OD that almost took her life, she took to Instagram stories to reflect on some of the lessons she learned from that terrible time. She also took the time to call out the paparazzi, who'd been hounding her more than usual because of the huge news. She said in an Instagram story, quote, "Dear Popsmirazzi, 1. I'm not doing anything newsworthy. 2. I'm purposely re-wearing the same 3 lazy bum outfits over and over again that I've already been photographed in, so you can't make any more money off of them. You're literally wasting your time." And obviously she was extremely annoyed by the paparazzi to take the time to call them out on her massive Instagram. And at number 1, Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence doesn't have social media accounts, so she's not able to tweet about how much she hates the paparazzi, but she still makes sure to bring it up in interviews when she has the chance. Like in one interview with Vogue, where she said, quote, "If I were just your average 23-year-old girl and I called the police to say that they were strange men sleeping on my lawn and following me to Starbucks, they would leap into action. But because I'm a famous person, well, sorry ma'am, there's nothing we can do. It makes no sense. I'm not okay with it. It's as simple as that. I'm just a normal girl and a human being. And I haven't been in this long enough to feel like this is my new normal. I'm not going to find peace with it." Jen has also talked about how she doesn't like fame and how fan interactions make her really uncomfortable. So that's obviously a big part of the reason that she maintains such a low profile most of the time.
At number 9, Jessica Simpson. I'm not one for cheating. I am a very faithful and honest person, but I do know that if you were to cheat on your partner, you might want to try hiding it better than Jessica Simpson did in the mid-2000s. Paparazzi exposed Jessica for allegedly cheating on her then husband Nick Lachey when they photographed the singer leaving the Chateau Marmont hotel. See, upon hearing this, you'd think maybe she just had a wild night out, needed to crash at a hotel, or maybe she was just visiting a friend, or literally anything else. She was known as the industry's goody two-shoes girl, so no one would have expected that an alleged affair was the reason for her stay at the hotel. But the evidence to support that? Well, how about the fact that when she was photographed leaving the hotel, she was seen wearing Adam Levine's shirt. Just recently, Jessica came out and admitted to her extramarital affairs during this time, so maybe she was really out there with a Maroon 5 frontrunner. But if you're gonna cheat on your spouse, maybe don't wear the shirt of the person you're cheating with. And at number 8, John Mayer and Jessica Simpson. Speaking of Jessica Simpson, she seems to have a reputation for having her relationships exposed by the paparazzi. Photographers caught John Mayer and Jessica Simpson while on vacation in Cabo, and when they captured photos of the couple, they had no idea that they had just witnessed the exact moment that their relationship ended. Insert breakup image. Apparently their relationship had been rocky for a while, so I'm guessing that this is why photographers were following the couple looking for a scoop. But I doubt they were expecting to strike gold with this picture. As they snapped the photo and released it to the public, news of their breakup broke. Doesn't seem like John and Jessica had even the slightest chance of keeping their breakup under wraps. But I still cannot believe that it was actually confirmed that their relationship had officially ended during the seconds that these photos were taken. Absolutely insane. And number 6, Orlando Bloom. Now, when I think of celebrities who were exposed by paparazzi, I think of cases like Orlando Bloom, where he was really exposed. For those who have no idea what I'm talking about, let me tell you. Back in summer 16, Orlando Bloom and Katy Perry were having a nice day on the beach paddleboarding and having fun, but their fun soon turned sour as images soon surfaced of Orlando blooming, if you know what I mean. The man had his bits out for Harambe and the paparazzi captured it all. They really exposed him, that's for sure. There are tons of pictures of Orlando on the beach that day, and I honestly don't really know how to feel about it. I know it's all a joke now, but like the paparazzi really went out of their way to invade this man's privacy and take many pictures of him and share it with the world. When that kind of thing happens to a normal person, it is super frowned upon and even illegal in some cases, but why is it that when these things happen to a celebrity, it's fair game? Halfway through at number 5, Justin Bieber. Next we're talking about J Biebs and his paparazzi exposure. In a case much like Orlando's, Justin had his goodies photographed and plastered all over the internet as well. In 2015, paparazzi caught up with Justin as he was vacationing in Bora Bora while he was there with model Jade Pierce. The paparazzi captured the coveted full frontal photo as he walked to the hot tub in his vacation rental. Justin told sources that he thought that since he was out in the middle of nowhere, he didn't think photographers would come out on boats trying to photograph photograph him, and this prompted his liberated walk around his rental. Unfortunately for Justin, his fears were realized, and there were in fact photographers at the ready. The images surfaced on the internet soon after, and though there were a handful of censored versions, there are also a couple of completely nude images as well. Yet another celeb who was really exposed by the paparazzi. Coming in at number 4, Dakota Johnson and Chris Martin. When fans are really invested in a couple, they will do anything to get the latest relationship gossip. The same goes for when a couple really calls it quits. For the next few weeks after their breakup announcement, paparazzi will be everywhere trying to catch a glimpse of those people, trying to look for a scoop. Well, this is exactly what happened with Dakota Johnson and Chris Martin. In June of 2019, Dakota and Chris announced that they had broken up after almost 2 years together. Obviously, having been together for so long, their split was big news, and the paparazzi had to get in on the scoop. Well, it wasn't until a few months later when photographers spotted the two having a date together at the beach. They snapped some photos and broke the news that the two were not actually split up as people thought. The fires of love had been reignited, and the paparazzi were the first ones to expose the truth. In at number 3, Emma Roberts. In 2013, Emma Roberts was arrested for domestic violence against her then boyfriend Evan Peters. She was arrested in Montreal after getting into a fight with Evan at their hotel, prompting guests to call the police. When the police arrived, they found Evan with a bloody nose and bite marks. Now, after this sort of encounter, you'd think that Evan would have left Emma, but no. Paparazzi caught the two of them reuniting in New Orleans just a few days after Emma's arrest. Cameras captured the moment the couple met up in an emotional exchange. Reports say that they were both hitting each other, but Emma was arrested because Evan had visible signs of abuse. Though Evan didn't press charges, Emma was still left with the reputation of being abusive. Following the paparazzi exposing their reunion, this began a pattern of on-again, off-again behavior until the couple called it quits for good in 2019. At number 2, Kristen Stewart and Rupert Sanders. At the time, this incident was big news. When paparazzi snapped photos of Kristen Stewart and director Rupert Sanders in an affair, the news blew up. Paparazzi exposed their secret relationship, and it has honestly stuck with Kristen till this day. When you ask people why they hate Kristen so much, the overwhelming answer is because of this cheating scandal. The exposure was enough to end both Sanders and Stewart's relationships with their own partners. The whole thing went down while filming Snow White and the Huntsman, so I guess as Twilight came to a close, so too did the coveted relationship between Edward and Bella. This scandal was probably one of the best examples of paparazzi blowing the doors off a story. Finally, at number 1, Christian Bale. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about Christian Bale and his violent outburst at a fan, which detailed how the fan should be ended. So I think we know what Christian Bale's dark self is capable of conjuring up. But if you need more examples, look no further than an audio recording that was leaked by the press, which recounts Christian Bale's violent outburst on the set of Terminator Salvation. While on set filming, Bale, I guess, cracked under pressure and took it out on a crew member, saying that he was ruining his focus. Apparently, the crew member was walking behind the camera, and this messed Bale up, leading to the outburst. Christian then began ripping on the crew member for a good 4 minutes. Now, that might not seem like a very long time, but it sure is when someone is throwing expletive-ridden hate at you. This altercation landed Christian in the hot seat and garnered him the title of impossible to work with once the public got a hold of the recording.
At number 6, Rihanna and Ashton Kutcher. Here's the tea on this fling, so get your mugs ready. Apparently, Rihanna and Ashton had a little entanglement back in 2012 as she was spotted leaving the actor's house in the early hours of the morning back in March of that year. Sources suggested that the two had reportedly had a one-night stand, noting that the singer had arrived around midnight that night and left around 2 a.m. This spotting sort of confirmed some people's speculation that there was something going on between the two of them, because this wasn't the first time they were seen getting close to one another. According to one source, they had been flirting and texting with each other and meeting up at hotels. Other sources said that at the time they were just two single people having fun and saying, quote, "Both of them love a good time and I think they're just too busy for anything serious just yet." End quote. There was no definite end to this fling, and since it wasn't anything serious, it doesn't really matter, but it's still interesting to find out that these two Hollywood stars were so close at one point. At number 5, Ashley Olsen and Lance Armstrong. Here's a juicy little story about forbidden love. Well, not really, but it's still a little spicy. You see, actress and fashion designer Ashley Olsen and former professional cyclist Lance Armstrong had a bit of a fling in 2007, and very few people were on board with it. They started seeing each other a few weeks after Lance
Lance broke up with fashion designer Tory Burch, and sources say that Ashley and Lance were infatuated with each other. The two were spotted on a date at the Rose Bar in Gramercy Park Hotel, and they were seen macking on each other, then later leaving together in the early hours of the morning. Because there was a 15-year age gap, the people closest to Lance advised the cyclist to stop seeing Ashley over fears that this relationship and the large age difference would ruin his career. Lance tried to fight off his infatuation for Ashley, but things just ended up fizzling out a couple months later. At number 4, Kim Kardashian and Nick Lachey. Did you know that Kim Kardashian and Nick Lachey dated? Back in 2006, after splitting from his ex Jessica Simpson, Nick had his rebound game on with Kim K, who at the time was still a nobody in terms of fame. In an interview, Nick shared some details about his relationship with Kim Kardashian, where he claimed that Kim used him for fame because at this time, she was only known as Paris Hilton's assistant. During the interview, Nick said, quote, "Let's just say this. We went to a movie, no one followed us there. Somehow, mysteriously, when we left, there were 30 photographers waiting outside. There are certain ways to play this game, and some people play it well." End quote. In a way, Kim admitted that being linked to Nick worked well in terms of getting her notoriety, as she wrote in her 2010 book, Kardashian Confidential, that after dating Nick, paparazzi started calling out her name when she was out. At number 3, Scarlett Johansson and Justin Timberlake. It is rumored that Scarlett Johansson and Justin Timberlake have gotten pretty close in the past and have hooked up in secret on a few occasions. Their secret relationship of sorts reportedly began after they worked together for Justin's music video, What Goes Around Comes Around, where Scarlett played Justin's love interest. Sources have said that the pair got very close to each other back in 2011 while Justin was dating Jessica Biel. Some sources say that after having a wild night out of town, party hopping in New York, Justin was spotted heading straight for Scarlett's apartment. Now again, nothing is confirmed, but nothing's denied either, so what do you guys think? At number 2, Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock. Apparently, there was a spicy relationship blooming between Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock back in 2011. Reports said that they had enjoyed a quote-unquote close friendship for about a decade, and that they also reportedly enjoyed some secret holidays with each other as well. This all started happening after the release of their movie Proposal. They never really tried to hide their connection to one another, but they didn't really confirm anything either. They kind of just existed. The two of them apparently spent most of their time at Sandra's estate, and they were even photographed kissing on New Year's Eve. Their publicists at the time tried to convince the public that their relationship was, quote, strictly platonic, but I don't know guys, I think we really know what was going on there. And finally, at number 1, Harry Styles. When Harry Styles was still a rising star in the X Factor, he had his first celebrity hookup. Though it may have been fun in the beginning, it ultimately led Harry to being in his very first scandal, again, quite early on in his career. He bounced back from it completely, but at the time, this sneaky link was big news. Back when Harry was on the X Factor, he developed a crush on the show's presenter, Caroline Flack. Caroline wrote about this little crush in her autobiography, Storm in a Sea Cup, where she revealed that Harry's crush on her was no secret, saying, quote, "I already knew that he had a crush on me, he made it pretty obvious. He'd said it in magazines and he'd said it to friends." End quote. Ultimately, they started dating when Harry was 17 and Caroline was 31. All was well with them until suddenly things got complicated. One day, paparazzi captured images of Harry leaving Caroline's house and a scandal began. Caroline shared her thoughts on what happened next in her book, writing, quote, "It began to go wrong when Harry was pictured coming out of my house one morning, and once that was out, it was open season. After that, anyone could say anything. In the street, people were shouting at me." End quote. Things got so bad that Caroline even started receiving threats from One Direction fans, ultimately ending her relationship with Harry.